Johnson here, a very special OAMFT member.
It's nice to be here. It feels somehow like this is a family gathering rather than me sort of going off and somehow meeting a whole bunch of strangers. So it's an honor to be here. It's nice to be in my own community. I'm teaching a trauma course at the University of Ottawa to my grad students. And I'm looking at all these ways of working with trauma. And what really hit me is that, my grad students talk about trauma as somehow associated with dysfunction and a disorder, and they go and they look at the DSM, and we have all this clinical language. And as I was coming here thinking about talking to you about trauma, what I remembered was that trauma is actually in some ways simpler than that. It comes from the Latin word that means a wound. And really what we're talking about here is our profession and how we fit in with helping people with the wounds that life inflicts on them. All these are best treated in the arms of a loving attachment figure, in a couple bond or in a loving family. This is pretty different than what we were all taught in our profession not so long ago. I was certainly taught it in some of my courses, which is that the secret of health was differentiation, individuation, teaching the individual to be separate and self-sufficient. What is revolutionary about this new science of love and attachment is that John Bowlby says that is basically a mistake. There is no such thing as a self-sufficient mammal. People say, well, it's a recession. We can't afford to deal with this. Really? Well, I would suggest that that's a really crazy saving, because there's no investment that's going to pay off like having stable families in a society and resilient individuals. I don't think we can afford not to deal with this, right? The state of California suggests that it costs the state at least $30,000 in creating a social safety net, right, for families and for individuals, that every divorce costs the state of California $30,000. I don't see why it should be different in Canada. We're in a whole new era of couple and family therapy, and we absolutely have the expertise. We absolutely do understand what these bonds are about. They are not mysterious anymore. We have focused a lot in our field about the power of conflict. What we haven't focused on and haven't understood in attachment relationships is the power of distance and isolation and how it drives people crazy. We're starting to understand this. We're starting to understand these core processes in marital distress, in family distress, and as we start to understand them, we start to be able to use interventions to change them. With the new science of love, we know the conversations that matter, that define relationships, and now we know how to shift them. We know how to change these key bonding interactions in people's most important relationships. We know how to help them create safe haven. And this not only gives them a place to heal from big T trauma, it gives them a place to go in a society that is more and more isolated and alienated and alone, a place to grow, a place to become stronger, more confident. Good, secure, bonded relationship creates healthy, resilient individuals. And this is, I think, the new challenge for our profession, that we are the people who are focused on relationships. We are the people who know how to do this. We have a lot to do. We have a really important contribution to make. People can tolerate pain if it's ordered and coherent for them. They can't tolerate being flooded and in chaos. So you help them tolerate that pain, and you help them talk about these attachment needs and fears, right, which our profession actually hasn't been very good at helping them talk about until recently. You help them do that. You help them send new messages to their partner, messages that pull their partner towards them instead of pushing that partner away, right? Then you have two people holding each other, looking at a dragon coming towards them if it's a trauma couple. Right? Every time a dragon comes towards you, if you're by yourself, you're overwhelmed. if at that point you reach for your partner and you feel your partner's hand, every time that dragon comes towards you and you feel your partner's hand, you're more able to deal with trauma and the bond between you gets stronger. Our profession has to embrace this new science of love. And it has to learn how to work with emotion, and it has to stop pathologizing dependency.
Thank you for coming today.